On today's episode, we're going to be talking about gangs. No, not those type of gangs, but gang sheets. Stick around because you're not going to want to miss this. So when we talk about gang sheets, we're talking about a pre-programmed sheet that has all your images laid out in a very strategic manner so that you maximize the prints per film. So for example, I'm using this roll of paper here, and you can see that it has several images already laid out on it. So when you're printing out a gang sheet, you kind of want to have everything organized as tight as possible, but you still want to be able to cut around images. So what do I mean by that? If you have a customer that has several images that they want to print, or they want to do some chest logos, left chest logos, maybe some name tags in the back, you could print those on a gang sheet. And what you would do is you would prep them onto your sheet, and I'm going to show you an example in a second, and organize them in a way that you can maximize the space utilization on the film. Now, typically you can sell the roll of film by the yard. So you really don't even have to have a heat press. You don't need to press anything. You don't need to have inventory of shirts. All you need is the printer. Typically, a roll of film, 24 inches, costs $220 approximately. Now, the average sale per yard is about $35 out in the market. Some of them are cheaper, some of them are more expensive, but again, that's the average. Also, depending on how much coverage is on the sheet. If there is not one free space on the film, obviously you're going to charge more. If there's a lot more free space, then you charge less. It all depends, right? But typically, you're looking at $35 per yard. So a roll of film has 328 feet, which is roughly 100 yards. So 100 yards times 35 is about $3,700. Now, you do have to figure out your ink costs and the powder cost and the electrical and the overhead and all that stuff. But still, for a $220 roll of film, you could make $3,700. If you want to know my 3 favorite hacks, I want you to check out this video. I'm going to leave a link to it in the card above and in the descriptions below. So we're going to make believe that this is our yard of material. It's 24 inches across by 36 inches. Remember, you need to leave at least about an inch margins on the side or maybe half an inch so that you don't go too far, and on the top as well. So we're looking at working within this space. You're going to have to play Tetris when you're making your gang sheet, and what I mean by Tetris is you want to have all the pieces interlocked with as little space in between as possible. So for example, if I'm running a gang sheet with a bunch of circles, if I organize the circles in a particular way, if I put them all side by side like this, you know, I could print 2 in a row like so, but there is a lot of space in between that I could be using to put another design, maybe a smaller, something else. Now, if this is all they want, you can do it like this. If they had extra images, you can move these to the side, and all this you can do with the software. So that's the beauty of using the software, whether it's a Vivid Rip or Photoshop or anything like that. Now, by moving them like this, look, I've increased my square footage right here. So now I have more space to put things. I can put something here. I can use this area. I can use this one and this one. Some people make the little neck tags. You can put a bunch of little neck tags around these areas. You always want to leave a little bit of space that you can cut the design, and also as you cut it, you want to have maybe a little tag like this where when you're peeling it off, you can use that to peel it off. So this is just an example of how you could organize a gang sheet to maximize the space on it. Now, if you are doing small orders, again, instead of just using one sheet and wasting this whole piece and having this as scrap, you kind of don't want to do that. So if you have small orders, you could try to use the entire sheet by making multiple designs for maybe different people, so you kind of maximize the space. If you have, let's say, just 4 images like this, you could charge them a certain price. If you have a gang sheet that would be totally loaded, you'd have to consider the time that it took you to put it all together, you know, the time that it took you to put it together and the ink it's going to take. So this one might cost a little bit more. Now I'm going to the machine and I'll print a gang sheet. So I had my illustrator create a gang sheet for me with all the images that the customer wanted. So this guy's a gym, like I said before, so he wanted all these different images, and they are one of each. So he's going to be able to cut however many he wants and be able to press them on t-shirts. And I'm going to be selling it by the yard instead of by the image. So this is the image that I brought into Vivid Rip. It's really long, but once I have it here, I can just right click and have it print a file, which will turn it into a PRT ready for this one. So once I send it to the printer, it's going to look like this into the Host and Soft software. And here, this is how long the entire sheet is. Right now, it's done about half of it, and it's going through the machine. I'm going to turn on the air suction, and we're good to go. So the importance of making the gang sheet is, if I had to print each of these one by one individually, if you look closely, there's a gap between the last image and where it's going to print again. So this is not a big deal, but every time you print, you're losing about 6 to 8 inches of paper. Now, I could rewind the paper, but then I'd have to unwind it from the machine to get it back up here. So I want you to see, I'm going to run the images again. I'm going to run the gang sheet again just to show you how much space goes on in between. So on my sheet, they're about 1 inch apart. So I've got my image pulled up, it's ready to print, and now all I have to do is click the print button, and it's going to start printing. So let's take a look at how much space we're losing if we do it this way. So there we go. If you take a look, it hasn't even printed yet. We're at about 8 inches right now. 8 inches. Yeah, so right now I lost 8 inches of paper or film, which I could have used to print something else. So by making the gang sheet, it maximizes your paper utilization by having the images really close together, enough where you can cut it and have enough to peel when you're heat pressing it. So that's one of the advantages of making a gang sheet. And also, I don't need a heat press. I don't need to do anything. I just let it roll. Once the roll finishes, I cut it, I put it in a tube, ship it out to the customer, and let them take care of it. So that's less work for me. All I have to do is sit here and just watch this print all day. That's all I got to do. All right, so the printing is done. Now it's just time to roll it up, put it in a shipping tube, and send it out to the customer. And we're all done. So one of the advantages of rolling it up like this is that when it's in the shipping tube, it's going to be very hard and harder to bend. Whereas if you had cut it into slices and sent them in the sheets, there's a possibility that it will bend. This way, it won't. Before you guys go making mistakes, I'm going to leave a link to a video called The Common DTF Mistakes in the card above and in the description below. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and remember to hit that notification bell so they let you know when we come out with great videos. All right, guys, that's a wrap. I'll see you on the next video.